morning, everyone. Thank you guys for joining this Q&A with Opal Tometi. Opal Tometi introduced the world to the Black Lives Matter movement, an organization along with Alicia Garza and Patrice Cullors. Opal, thank you so much for joining us today at Holler virtually. We're so happy to have you here. To kick things off, just how are you feeling right now? There's a lot of things going on. Would love to hear your perspective.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for inviting me to share with you all. Gosh, how am I doing right now? I feel really good and very hopeful. And I feel like heartened by the fact that we have this vibrant, multiracial, all these, people from different religions, different walks of life, different identities, you name it, people are standing up.
The Black Lives Matter movement has been around for several years. Does this particular time feel different?
I think what we're witnessing now is that in the backdrop of the pandemic, people are tired. They're saying the status quo is intolerable, and there's this widespread consensus around the globe, actually, that Black lives do matter.
Can you explain what the Black Lives Matter movement is in your own words?
This is a global human rights movement. The Black Lives Matter movement is the modern day racial justice movement. It is the most influential movement in modern history, and it is one for human rights. It's about our dignity, it's about respect, it's about justice, and it's about affirming, Black life and creating a context where Black people can thrive.
What inspired you to not just take a passenger seat, but take an active role in driving change?
So to be quite honest, what inspired me on a personal level was my youngest brother. So I have two younger brothers, and my baby brother was 14 years old at the time. When I saw that this trial was unfolding on television, all I could think about is that there was no way my baby brother was going to escape this news. And even like my god kids and other people in my life that I love, young people, there was no way they weren't going to hear this story. And I just couldn't help but think about what message are they getting from this story? That an adult can go and stalk and kill a child and get away with it just because of the color of their skin. It was very clear to me that I needed to do something more, and that this was the time.
There's been a lot of companies rushing to state their various positions on Black Lives Matter or how they're supporting. What has been some of the good reactions to the movement that you've seen, and what have been some of the unfortunate reactions to the movement that you've seen?
I'll just say that I overwhelmingly am excited and heartened by the responsiveness that we've seen. Do I wish many of these groups came along way before? Yes. This is the reality that we're in, and I'll embrace it for what it is. And I'm glad to see that there is now more support. And I think what's really stood out to me is that there are companies like Ben & Jerry's that, and I gotta give them a shout out, that come out of, just doing their homework, being in real relationship and doing their homework, and being unapologetic about their stance and their stance for Black people and affirming our lives and our rights. And that's what we need in this time. We've been courageous, but we need others. We need larger entities to also be courageous.
They talked about when you're going to battle, you have allies could come. They're like, we're not against you, but we could come if you like. They're kind of in and kind of out kind of thing. But comrades, when you have a comrade, they're in, right? They're with you, they're going. And so if you describe Ben & Jerry's, for example, Ben & Jerry's sounds like a comrade, right?
Oh, yeah.
They're showing it in every aspect of their business, and they're having that be representative.
Part of the difference is relationship, right? Real relationships, committing to be in partnership, and being committed to being in a learning kind of educational relationship, and being committed not only for a one-off transaction, but being willing to be transformed by your engagement, being willing to transform your own entity, right? Your organization, your corporation, as a result of your learning and understanding and engagement with Black communities, Black leadership, and other, marginalized communities. I think that's what we're looking for, not the one-off transactional relationships. I think, the pandemic, so profoundly reminded us that our lives are intertwined, and what we do here matters to the rest of the world.
So one of the questions that came up many times was, how as a non-Black person do I really make a difference? Like, where do I start? So that's going to be part one of a two-part question. And then the second piece is, there's people who are afraid to make mistakes, right? And so, like, how should they be thinking about that?
You just get started. We need all the support that we can get, right? And to the points that were shared earlier around allyship and camaraderie, we want you to join. And it means that we need organizations, we need leaders, we need individuals to step up and do things that they haven't done before. Speak out, both in the workplace, but oftentimes it's also in your homes and in dinners, and having those awkward or uncomfortable conversations with family members when they do say something that's racist, or when they do let you know a story or something that they're doing that's wrong. And the reality is that discomfort is a small price to pay when you think about it in relationship to real lives being impacted and real lives being lost. And for those people who might be a little nervous about making mistakes, I'll say this: it takes practice. It takes, learning. I was not perfect when I started. I didn't know all the things. And quite honestly, you don't need to know all the things. You don't need to have all the facts or statistics or anything like that. We just need you to make those steps and be open to learning and open to correction, and open to support. I encourage folks to know that this is a process, know that this is about real lives, and just like everything else, you don't know it all, and it's fine. But you do have a responsibility, in this moment of history, to show up. And my hope is that, for those of us who always look back into history and think, would I have been with Martin Luther King, or would I have been, sitting on the sideline? This is that kind of moment. This is a capital H history-making moment. So, I invite people to join us and be on the right side of history.
Is there anything else that you would leave the, nearly 100 people on this call with?
I just want to remind all of us that this project and this movement is aiming to build a multiracial democracy that works. What we need you to do is to continue to show up. And it's not always showing up perfectly, but it's to be there and to be committed for the long haul.
This has been such an awesome talk. Thank you so much for having this discussion with us, the Holler, and our respective community. We are going to take this to heart, and we're going to roll up our sleeves and do the work that we need to. Keep on doing what you're doing, because it means a lot to a lot of us in many different ways. And I continue to wish you the best as you continue to press on.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, and I really appreciate your entire community and folks showing up this morning.